Studio. Thanks so much for joining us on this rather chilly and wet, and in some areas of the state, snowy Friday, right? We're pleased to welcome now Marie Sanderson, former policy director with the Republican Governors Association, and of course a GOP strategist. Hey, Marie, good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
You bet. So we're getting ever so close, inching towards Inauguration Day, the swearing in of the 47th President, Donald Trump. He is wasting no time building coalitions and inviting lawmakers to his resort there at Mar-a-Lago and discussing with them his agenda. I don't know that I've ever seen a president-elect so active and honestly overshadowing the existing president. What do you think?
He's very organized. He's strategic. To quote a Democrat official yesterday, I was aware of the, quote, Trump effect, but had no idea, end quote. The president has a lot of momentum right now, and to his credit and his team's credit, the president-elect, that is, he's wasting no time. He's on Capitol Hill working with Republicans, talking through possibilities, indicating to them, just get the job done. You'll have my backup, addressing problems, and we're going to have a great first 100 days with President Trump as our new president.
Yeah, it sure seems like it, and I think it's wise of him to really get these folks off site. Of course, he's had meetings with them, as you know, in Washington. He's been there over the last week as well, but I mean, he's being proactive. He's calling them. Let's get together. Let's talk about the agenda. Let's hear your concerns and let me convey to you my vision. And then I need your help. I can't do this by myself. You know what I can through executive orders. The last I heard, he's got 100 ready to go. Most of that, I think, will just be reversing orders issued by the current president. But this seems like the wise thing to do, and not necessarily go out into the internet universe and make points, which he does, and a lot of that I think is just to kind of to pressure people he needs to get on his train and to just muster public support. This is the way you conduct business, and he's a business person.
Absolutely. I've said on your show before, he and his team are extremely organized. They have been working on this for months. They will be ready to undo what they can through the powers that the president has on day one, and it will be organized and politically savvy. And then the rest of the agenda, he's doing what he needs to do to work with the Congress to get it done. So the American people gave him a new order to go and reverse a lot of things they didn't like in the last 4 years. And the president is taking his call to action very seriously. Promises made, promises kept. And you're going to see that in particular in the first 100 days in year one in a very real way.
There's no doubt about that. And I wonder, you've seen this, I'm sure, the passing of the Laken-Riley Act, which garnered significant Democrat support in the Senate. Not so much in the House, but in the Senate. Do you think maybe they're seeing the light that, that this is sensible legislation? And yeah, this may conflict with this honestly radical Democrat agenda, but this is common sense. And that's what the president-elect says all the time, just common sense policy. I just wonder if that's the Trump effect at play here.
It is. You look at the groups that President Trump won, you can see where the American public is on these issues. Good politics makes good policy. And I think the Democrats are seeing that a lot of these issues are good for them to move as well. It's good for the country. And so as an American, I'm glad to see both the Democrats and the Republicans working together on such an important issue like immigration. This is only a first step, but I'm pleased with our Mississippi senators and the rest of the Congress for doing what they need to do to get this done.
How important is it, Marie, the judge's ruling, Judge Marchand's ruling, that hopefully just puts all these this legal baggage, if you will, to bed so we can focus on getting the work done for the American people?
Look, it's politics. It's time to move on. And the president has said that. I think this is just another clown show. We'll see that today, and we'll move on and we'll get business done. I really think that we're moving into a huge week. This inauguration and the festivities surrounding the inauguration are off the charts. There's something for everyone, and the crowds are going to be insane. And I think that momentum that you will see and feel on the ground will propel the president into his legislative administrative agenda.
Yeah, totally agree. Now, we got through the speaker ordeal with a whole lot of fanfare. I think that's also pretty important that we can put that behind us. We know where everybody stands and start working on the agenda.
As a Republican, I'm glad that speaker's race didn't go on longer than it needed to. It was a long vote, but only one vote. I think, look, a lot of these elected officials have things they need for their districts, and I don't fault them for that, but I'm glad everybody got in line behind Speaker Johnson and the president. The president threw his support behind Speaker Johnson, and it was a good thing for the party to have that vote and move on. Now let's go do our business.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I think we're in good shape there. So what about the legislative agenda? So the president-elect has indicated he'd like to see one big, beautiful bill to include policies that address immigration, energy, and, of course, the Trump tax cuts, tax policy, top of the heap as well. But he said, if we need to break it into two, to just accommodate the needs and get it done. I'm all about results. I think that's the right message. Where do you think we're headed there?
I think Congress has to do what they need to do to get this done. And the president does not want to get in the weeds. I think he'll support Senator Thune and Speaker Johnson with the path they see best. Traditionally, having worked on Capitol Hill, the more you put in a bill to get more votes, sometimes the easier it is to pass. I think if you're Speaker Johnson, you're worried about having the votes to do that, right? And so you want to accomplish the goal without having to put too much in the bill. But, border security, immigration, trade policy, and to your point, taxes are absolutely things that the president has said he wants to get done, and he will get done. The taxes expire, so that is one of those events that is a must pass. So they're going to need the best path to do that. I think everyone here is well-intentioned, and I think the president's just saying, figure out how to get it done and get it done. Don't disappoint me.
Yeah, I think you're right. And one of the things that has been included in the tax discussion, as you know, is perhaps lifting altogether or increasing the threshold of the state and local tax, the so-called SALT cap, which would benefit mainly the deep blue states that have extremely high state and local taxes. But that could muck up the reconciliation process, Marie. What do you think about that?
It could. There are a lot of taxes that will be fought as well as pushed for, rather. I mean, You've got the corporate income tax, the personal income tax, SALT, as you noted, which is a Republican versus Democrat thing. You have healthcare taxes that are going to be needed to be re-upped, R&D tax credits. You're a tax guy, you know this better than I do, but there are so many things that are going to be on the table, and it costs money to do that. But it's also good for the American economy. So it will be a debate. Speaker Johnson has had lieutenants working on this for months. They have been doing roundtables across the country. So the Republicans are not walking into this with their eyes closed. They've been talking to constituents and talking to policymakers and figuring out a way to do this. What it cost, fiscal note scores, these are words that those of you who work in the legislature know. What does this cost? How do we offset it? All these conversations have been happening, and they will continue, obviously, with momentum as we move into January and February and March.
You know, who's really good at this, and I think we're fortunate, is Representative Congressman Jason Smith, that heads Ways and Means in the House. He's a wonk when it comes to this stuff. He's really good, don't you think?
Very good. I've been in meetings with him. Smart, has a really strong staff, understands the policy, understands what it costs, wants to get this done for the president. You may have read reports that he's pushed a two-bill process. I think he'll be at the table with the speaker working to try and get this done. As I said a minute ago, everyone's well-intentioned. They want to get this done. So how do you build a broad coalition to pass what the American people want? And ultimately, and more importantly, what President Trump wants.
Yeah, totally agree. And again, the message was delivered loud and clear on November 5th, and we're relying on the Republican-controlled House and Senate to get that done, get it to the president's desk, and start doing good stuff for the American people. Marie, always good to talk to you. Really appreciate you coming on. Enjoy your insight. You have a great weekend, and I'm sure we'll be talking to you soon. Thanks.
Great. Thank you. Take care.
We're coming right back in the Element Wealth